Hey everybody, welcome to That's Good Stuff, show where we review pop culture's newest releases. And this week, the new release was Hurry Up Tomorrow, starring The Weeknd, also known as Abel Tesfaye, I think is how you say his name.
I wouldn't know.
It was directed by Trey Edward Schultz, who, what did he do? I looked it up and I've already forgotten. It comes at night, which Jared's seen, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Waves, and that's about it. It also stars Jenna Ortega and Barry Keegan. Keegan, I think that's how you say his name.
Yogan?
Keoghan?
Some Irish.
Something Irish.
Something in there. Keoghan. I don't know.
Keoghan. So this is the Weeknd's probably, I guess you would call it a vanity project, I'm sure. So it's The Weeknd, and he plays someone called The Weeknd, right? Who's also able to sway. So this movie, it's not much plot to go on, but this movie is about The Weeknd, who's a performer, super famous, selling out the crowds, and he's in a very emotional state at the moment because some girl won't call him back and he's upset about it, and this is affecting his vocals, and he's got this stressed out throat, man, that he needs to sing.
I
So
was eating popcorn at that time, and I was like, "Oh."
I said, "How does he eat popcorn?" I was like, "I don't think he tries, Jared."
How can he do it when it's so tight?
Barry Keegan is his manager, and he's there to get him psyched and drugged and have fun when he so he's concerned because he wants him to perform and he wants him to get over this girl that he has in his phone. Meanwhile, we're getting this story about Jenna Ortega, who we don't know too much about. She's like burning her house and crying while she does it. She runs, she steals some gas because I guess she's gonna burn something else. And she ends up arriving at the Weeknd's newest concert where he's got a lip sync because he can't sing. And she gets into the concert, and then they see each other like, hey. And as us viewers, well, maybe me, I don't know about you guys, I was like, okay, so she's the girl leaving the messages, or he's the one trying to leave the messages. Um, but we'll get to that. We won't spoil that yet. So he runs out of the concert. He's like, he can't, his voice not working. He sees her. He runs out of the concert, the arena. Barry's all upset, runs after him. He locks himself in
That's my brother.
He locks himself in the dressing room, starts packing his knapsack, and he's
His hobo stick and his
mulligan stew, and he runs out of there, and Barry's like, no, but he's like, hold that man, I don't want to see that man. So security holds him back, and the Weeknd runs, and he sees Jenna Ortega, and he's like, hey, it's Jenna Ortega, and he's like, I saw you. And
it's the
she's
star of
I've
Wednesday.
seen you in that one thing.
And she's like, yeah, I saw you too. And he's like, you want to get out of here? And they're like, yeah. So then they have a night on the town, going to like a carnival and stuff, and riding
with terrifying masks on.
Terrifying masks, electric scooters. They get into a cab to go back to his hotel.
Wait, you missed the part. There's a tiny little bull on the bar.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that little bull?
It's just there for fun, I guess, for drunks. And they're about to go back to his apartment, but they see Barry there. So the Weeknd hides, and he's like, go to a different hotel, a nice one. And the guy doesn't answer right away. Then he goes. He's like, so they go back to his hotel, and they share some romance, I guess. And then it's the morning, and they wake up, and they have some cereal. But the Weeknd is, he's got stuff to do. He's famous, and he's got to go see the doctor. And this upsets Jenna. She's like, "You don't leave." She's kind of very unbalanced person, and he wants to leave, but she like knocks him out. I don't. Did you guys see what she knocked him out with?
think she got a
Glass
golf club.
bottle.
Oh, I thought it was.
Oh, was that a?
I thought it was a golf. It looked like there was a golf like case sitting next to the wall. Because she pulled it up like this, so it looked like she pulled it out of the golf case.
I thought it was like a pan, like a frying pan. That's like
That was doing.
She's like, "Last of Us, bam!"
Surprise!
Knocks him out, ties him to the bed. He has some trippy dreams, and then you think it's gonna be like Misery, and she's gonna torture this guy, but instead she plays some music for him, and
There's a different kind of torture.
yeah,
Would
yeah.
you want to see someone dancing and singing to your songs?
But Barry comes to save the day, and then they fight, and then he doesn't save the day, and then Jenna is about to burn them in some great romance love or something like that. But then the weekend starts to sing a cappella, and this makes Jenna cry. And then the weekend in the weekend gets out of the hotel and walks away. And then the last we see of him, he's getting ready for another concert. Did he learn his lesson? We don't know. We don't know. I don't know if we care.
Can he feel his face when he's with her? We don't know.
We don't know. So hurry up tomorrow. This movie currently has like a 16 on Rotten Tomatoes or something from critics. The audience is a little kinder. It's up at the 70. I did not hate this movie. It reminded me a lot of that movie we saw last year, Megalopolis, because it's kind of a vanity project. But I enjoyed this one a lot more than I did Megalopolis. They tried to throw some art house stuff. The weekend's like, make it arty, and the director's like, okay, I'll make it arty. Um, it's like a concert movie, kind of, like the old Michael Jackson ones and stuff. It starts off like that, where you know you get some songs and stuff like that, and there's a lot of music playing during the whole thing. So it is kind of like an old concert movie until like the end. It's like a it's pretty much a music video, I would say, just a really long music video. And I mean, none of the performances blew me away or something, and the story's not The Godfather, obviously, but I didn't like. I wasn't in pain watching this movie. I know some people said they wanted to run out, but I was okay with it. I'll talk about my theater experience after the review, but that's a whole nother topic. But okay, so what did you guys think, Jared? I'm gonna go to you first.
At first, I was thinking because I asked Michael, I was like, "What is this about?" Because all I knew is it had The Weeknd and Jenna Ortega, and then I was like, "I don't know what this is about." And then we were at Alamo, and we saw the previews. Like they show like commercials and stuff like that, or like old shows or whatever.
All I got was
None
The
of them,
Weeknd.
none of them made sense to the movie. Even now, I don't understand what they were. 'Cause it's all like Japanese like Sentai shows and like and kaiju shows. I was like, what is this?
The
What is
heck?
this really about?
All we got.
Um,
So we have a place that's like Alamo, but it's called Flex Brewhouse. So it's like a knockoff Alamo. And all we got was the weekend videos. We just watched a bunch of
Makes more
videos.
sense at least.
but when it started and there was a bunch of like it starts off with music and stuff like that, I was like, oh, it's like because the only concert movie I ever seen is Into the Nether by Metallica. So I was like, oh, sweet, it's like a concert movie. And then like the scenes with her driving and his music, I was like, oh, this is cool with like the synth and
Yeah, I
the
like
driving. I
that.
was like, that's cool.
That was one part I did like too. Was when she was driving.
But as it went on, I was like, because at first there's a scene where he's in the bathtub and there's like this jump scare, and I was like, why was there a jump scare in this movie? And then as it went on, I was like, oh, he's like a little pretentious with this. Did The Weeknd write this or something? Because he's done like he's written for The Idol and like I think another thing, but he's been kind of like that recently. So I was like, and then at the end, where she's just like talking about like the songs and how, oh, they're not so poppy. They're not, there's something underneath the pop layer. And we're like, we knew that from the second album. We knew that from I Can't Feel My Face. So we're like, so I was like, what are you talking about? The Weekend? Um, and then there's that like nightmare scene. I was like, what the heck? He can't decide if this is about him or a horror movie. So I was like, I don't hate this. I'm fine with this, but so all in all, I didn't hate it. It's like he wanted some horror, he wanted some pretentiousness from himself, and I was just confused, really. But I didn't hate it. There was some cool visuals and like the part where he goes into the elevator and it's all dark. It reminded me of like Get Out. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I want to hear what Michael thought because I don't know. I couldn't tell what he was thinking.
You're just staring at him.
I was just like,
Can you feel your face? I didn't know anything about this movie until I sent you guys the trailer because I'm the one who initiated this. So I'll take the brunt of it. Although I will say I did like it. I actually enjoyed this movie. Because I watched Kevin McCarthy on Instagram. He's that dude interviews everyone, and everyone likes his questions. He's very in depth, and he's a big film nerd. Like he just like all because he had the whole main cast and the director sitting down. And he just basically talked about what like the aspect ratios meant and why he was changing all those things. You could just tell the dude was just very artsy fartsy. And like Jenna Ortega and Barry just kept saying, yeah, we just kind of trusted the vision because you could tell they had no idea what was going on. But and then The Weeknd, you said his name Abel. I had no idea. He was saying that it was like burning the destroying the persona of The Weeknd is what he was saying that it was. In a little bit that I caught. So I don't know anything about The Weeknd. I don't know anything about him or his story or any of that. So I meant to look up stuff and I totally forgot to.
Apparently he's like retiring The Weeknd, right?
That's what it seemed like he was saying. Yeah.
Yeah. He's not going to perform as The Weeknd anymore. So that makes sense.
Yeah. That's what I have the movie. But yeah, so watching the trailer after that, because I watched that interview, then I watched the trailer, and that's what I said to you guys, like, this looks really good. And we didn't have anything to watch. And then getting up to it, and everyone's like, oh, this movie's horrible. I was like, well, my expectations went pew, then they went pew, and then Josh was like, it's not that bad. So it went like merp. So I went in with merp expectations, but I feel like I definitely enjoyed it. It was an interesting movie. I think the visuals were very cool. Like you guys said, like the her in the snow burning the house, driving away. At first, I thought they weren't going to show the house because it was like super just focused on that. It's like maybe budget reasons, but then they showed it. It's a cool visual. His like the stage music was very cool. Having it looks like you're playing Beat Saber or something with the lights going off, everything. But all the artsy visuals I very much enjoyed. I feel like just a little bit of pacing would have tightened it up. I don't think it needed to be shorter, but it just needed a little more focus. Like we hit that point where I love that scene where she wakes up the next morning because it's. I was trying to figure out if the movie was about like. Because there was a point where I'm like, is she real? Is she just like a figment of his imagination trying to get, because I kept having that, he kept saying, kill the persona in my mind. And so I feel like the persona came back out that next morning. And so I was like, so was the real Weeknd Abe or whatever the day before. And he's trying to use this woman as a, idea to change and not be this like seemingly from what they alluded to in the movie, a womanizer, like just going from woman to woman to woman. And then he met that one woman that he really cared about, but then screwed everything up with that. However, we didn't really get the backstory to that. But I really like that scene in the morning whenever it just kind of goes into because we don't get a lot from her backstory either. Because you get basically she just says, I ran away from home. She doesn't tell him that she burned down the house, but then her mom calls and she's just like, you can tell this is something she does repeatedly. She acts out. She like just makes all the wrong choices trying to figure things out. And so I was very intrigued with that, but just have that kind of switch where he goes back to, well, I'm just going to call it The Weekend for now. He goes back to The Weekend that morning. He's like, I got stuff to do. What do you mean? Like he went back to switching to this night's over. Like it was fun. Yeah, but you're not coming to me to Australia. Like that's crazy. What are you talking about? Like you can
Look, I finished my Fruit Loops. It's time for the tour.
But she's like, I thought she did a great job during this whole movie, honestly. But that scene especially, I was very into it. I was very tense. I was like, oh, this is awesome. And so there are definitely multiple scenes, like Jared said, the nightmare scene, while it was weird and I didn't understand what it meant, I thought it was cool looking. But where it gets to like the point where it started to lose me whenever they got to the part where he's tied to the bed and she starts.
Yeah.
I enjoyed what was like I enjoyed the idea of it, but I felt like it wasn't paced right, and then it flips too easily, in my opinion. Because like she knocks him out, like you're like, what's going on? And then she's like, okay, we're gonna sing to you for a little bit and like tell you have feelings, and I want you to tell me your feelings and be honest about it. No more facade. But it's like
I thought she would like bring up stuff for him that he was like, oh shoot, I didn't know
it'd be a little
what that was about.
Little internal monologue to himself or something. If she, I mean, assuming she was real or not real, but anyway. But yeah, so I feel like that just they could have taken a bit of the time of the movie to explore that a little bit more and have that fleshed out to have a better payoff, because the payoff was just like, oh, well, I guess we're just gonna kind of just go back to things, but he's changed a little bit, like he let her go or what. I don't know. That was interesting, but
yeah, the ending was definitely the weakest.
Yeah,
I wanted something better.
I wanted something a little more, bit more payoff to all the weirdness and the tension, because there was a lot of good tension in this movie. I felt like it handled that well, but just
I wanted them to look at the corner and a giant spider be up there or something.
Is that a Weekend thing?
That's a reference to another movie.
But yeah, so I definitely enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought the performance was good. I felt like Jared said, is a little self-indulgent, and he was a little bit, the character of the Weekend annoyed me when he was being real babyish at times, where I'm like, all right, calm down, young friend. All right, you're having a heartbreak. That's terrible, but you
said my mommy wouldn't love me, but my mommy loves me.
It was a little over dramatic at points, but I thought most of it was well done.
I was gonna say there's a lot of this movie that made me giggle. Like I didn't know if it was intended giggles or like if they wanted me to giggle, because I was like, no one else did. So I was like,
I did notice you laugh a couple times, and I was kind of smirked, but I was trying to figure out what was going on in the movie the whole time. I was just like staring. What did that guy laugh at in our theater? He just burst out at some point
when she's getting mad at him because she's like, "You said you'd stay forever," and he's like, "Shut up."
Oh yeah, he's like, shut the F up, and the guy goes, wah! He like dies over in our side of the theater. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was an interesting watch. Yeah. Not one of them like, yeah, go watch this movie, but it was cool.
It's definitely better. I mean, it's probably better in the theater too, because I feel like home it kind of sucked.
You're like, huh?
But I'd love to go to like a concert like that with like that stage production. It's like a freaking building, and he's going up and down it. It's like all those lights. I'd be like, man, that's awesome.
So what I've seen, I think it's mostly a generational divide about the reviews. I think like older reviewers don't like this at all. And I think like people who like grew up with the Weekend music and stuff, I think they kind of dig it. For me, it was fortunate because, I hate pop music. I can't stand most pop music, but The Weeknd is like the one artist that I actually tolerate, that I kind of like his music. Him and Dua Lipa, those are the only two that I kind of like.
I like her music too, yeah.
Because they got good voices. They can sing, unlike Taylor Swift or someone like that.
Yeah, if it was someone else, I probably wouldn't have made it through the movie. I'd have been like, all right. But yeah, unfortunately, I can stand it.
Real fast, in the movie, when Jenna Ortega is like lugging that gas can around, and the cops saw her, I was like, he's going to say, that child is just stealing gas. Like, she looked like a little girl lifting that gas. I was like, dang, she's like, small.
Because he like looks at her like, and he's like, oh, is this like a little kid helping her grandpa in the gas station or something?
But when she stood next to The Weeknd, she's not that much shorter than him. So I was like, maybe it was just like the camera angle or something. But
that was a really big gas can, though.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also laughing because she has that whole scene where she's waddling to get back to her truck. They keep it in one shot, and you can tell she sets down that one, picks up a lighter one, and chunks it in the back because she just like lifts it over her head and throws it in. I was like, that was not that light 2 seconds ago.
I didn't notice that.
It should have been like a heave, but it was just boom. Like,
I know she wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah,
Like,
she just-
"Ah."
like,
You just
literally
hear
over.
dunk, 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 dunk. Dang it.
I was laughing at that. I was like, I understand, but that was pretty funny. It's like just
So with her, I was a little worried about her mom because she like burned down the house. So the whole time I'm thinking, was the mom
Is
in
she
the
in
house?
there?
Because that didn't look like just Jenna's
Yeah,
house. It
yeah.
looked like someone's house. So I was like, did they burn the mom?
All the time, just like that mom is on fire.
Someone's got to go check on her.
And then, like, the weekend mentions his mom or dad, and I was like, do they have the same parents? Because they're both mentioning like family issues. I was like, what's going on with this?
And then if we get into spoilers, so close your ears if you don't want to hear it. But Jenna, like I said, you think it's her leaving the messages, but then you notice on the weekend's phone when he looks at it, it's a totally different girl. So it wasn't her the whole time. So um
Did anyone
theater
feel bad
stuff.
for Barry?
He's
Not
just trying to
very-
be, well, he's a bad friend, but he's trying to be a good friend. He's like, I'm just trying to get you through this, man.
He's just trying to keep him rich.
We've
What's
been
wrong with
together
that?
forever, man. Just
And
snort
don't
this and let's
dump.
go on.
Although if I saw my manager bringing out a little baggie, I'd be like, "Ooh, gummy bears!" But it wasn't gummy bears.
They had lots of pizza, but I don't think anyone ate it.
They always have this big old spread at those things, and there's always like one chip taken. I'm like,
I know, because he did take something.
Wasteful.
oh, we also have to like shame the weekend because he put like a cigarette out in his steak. And I
On
was
his
like, what are you
steak.
doing?
Oh,
What
yeah,
are
that
you
was
doing?
sad.
Oh,
At first, I thought it was a piece
man.
of chocolate cake, and then I was like, oh, it's a steak.
Those rich people. Cake or steak?
It was a thick piece of steak, and he was like,
And then he got more for like when he was in the bathtub. They gave him more steak. They just feed that guy steak. So theater experience. So this was funny. I went really early in the morning. It was like 10. So maybe not that early, but it was early. And I had this tiny little theater. It was 3 rows. And I really didn't think about it. I should have sat like back in the middle. No, I sat in the middle, like next to other people for some reason. And then I sat on the side because to like leave a space for them. So I was like up against a wall the whole time. There's like a wall right here that I was leaning on while I was watching it. And then the only other people are these 2 older ladies there. And they talk the entire movie. I mean, it's like our Alamo. You're not supposed to talk in there, but they talk the entire movie. They were like, they were sometimes they were pretty funny. They're like, oh, during the trailers, like, oh, that's scary. That's a scary movie. And then they're like, when they saw Jenna Ortega, they're like, oh, she's pretty. She has perfect skin. And that's like, and then when the weekend kind of flips and he's like, oh, I'm out of here. That was just kind of a one night thing. They're like, that son of a.
And that's when you raise your order card, like get him out of here.
Yeah, and I got popcorn in a bowl.
I got popcorn, but after like I was eating it, I was enjoying it, and then one bite, I was like, "Ew," like it tasted funky. I was like, I don't like that.
was that
Tasted
popcorn? What did I get? I got a whiskey banana split shake thing.
I thought it was
Weird.
pineapple because I was like,
It had
"There's
pineapple
pineapple
too.
over-"
It was like it was
Oh.
called a banana split thing. I don't know, but it was good.
A
But
minion.
I could smell it from my seat.
it was too small
Man.
though.
Too small?
Yeah, it was like I was expecting
Yeah,
like the
they
big
didn't give 'em
cups of the
much.
shake, but it was like these. I was like, oh man.
Aw.
They surely had made way more, like in the blender.
Yeah, like
They should have gave
just
you like.
come back for free refills on that.
Remember when Fuddruckers would give you like the little
Yeah, the
canister
metal
that-
can. Yeah. I should have got fish and chips. I wanted fish and chips.
They took it off our menu.
Michael was upset.
I get that
What?
almost every time we go to Alamo, and they took it off our menu. I was like, "Are you?"
Wow.
Because they revamped the whole thing. They have like 4 different free refill popcorn things, like different flavors and stuff. They took that off. They took the Mexican shake, which is what I was going to get off. They took a lot of stuff off, and I was very sad.
Michael, I got popcorn before Michael noticed that the other flavors were refillable. I assumed that they would be like you'd
Yeah.
have to they charge you for each refill, but nope. I was very sad.
You didn't even get a refill anyway.
No, because I got that weird taste. And I was like, I don't want
You
any
were
more.
done with it?
Yeah.
That was one of the refillables that you accidentally put in there.
It was a sample.
But maybe it was the part of the movie you were watching.
Just the weekend has upset me.
That steak part, you're just like, oh.
Oh,
right.
and then one last thing. When she's playing the music, she picked Gasoline from the FM one. And I was like, oh, that one does suck. I was like, that one isn't that good.
Did you know he had a new wave song, Jared?
I didn't know.
Where he sings like a vampire, I guess. I don't know if it's even him.
That's that song that she talks about. But
yeah,
that's why I didn't like it, because he was singing like that. He sounded like there's the guy that sings Somebody's Watching Me. What's that guy's name?
that guy has a weird name.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Thurston something. Rockwell.
Rockwell. Yeah, he sounded like Rockwell in that song, and I didn't like it, so that's why I never listened to it.
But that would be uncomfortable to have someone singing to you.
Dude, I'd be like, no, don't do this.
He's like crying the whole time. Please.
It's so like cringy. That's basically me watching TikTok. I'm like, don't do that.
Stop it. Go away.
Oh. All right, so that's going to do it for this time. Like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff, and we will catch you next time. Bye.
Recording stopped.